Today we're going to be working on Unit 1, LT11 Notes, Graphing Inequality. Number 1, number 2, and number 3 are just a review, so let's go ahead and review those here. So if you remember right, you need to be in the form y equals mx plus b to graph. Okay, so when I look at number 1, I already have y equals. That negative 3x is going to be my m, and the 5 is going to be my b. When I look at those, I can see that I'm going to use this y-axis as my starting point. And my b says I'm going to start at positive 5 because it's plus 5. So I'm going to go ahead and put a dot on positive 5. And then my m is negative 3. Remember, we always need two numbers for that m. Okay, so I have a negative 3. If there's no other number, it should be a fraction. It's going to be a 1 under it. So it's negative 3, 1. Remember, our top number tells us to go up or down, and our bottom number tells us to go left and right. Because it's a negative 3, that means from the dot that I started with, I'm going to go down 3. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and then to the right 1, because right is positive. So I'm going to go right 1. So down 3, 1, 2, 3, into the right 1. And then I'm going to do a dot. I'm going to keep going with that. So I'm going to go from that new dot, I'm going to go down 3, 1, 2, 3, right 1, 1, 2, 3, right 1, and I can only go down 2, so I can't make another dot. And then when I go up to my top one, I'm as high as I can go. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw this line in right there. Okay, so now when we look at number 2, I have negative x plus 3y equals 6. When I look at that, if there's no number in front of that x, there's really 1. So really I have negative 1 x plus 3y equals 6. I'm going to go ahead and move that over here. So negative 1x plus 3y equals 6. Remember, you want to get your y all by itself. So I want to get that negative 1x over on my right side with my 6. In order to do that, I'm going to say plus 1x. So plus 1x and plus 1x. So I'm going to draw my line. Those ones are gone. So on the left side, I still have 3y equals, remember when it's y equals mx plus b, our x has to go first. So I'm going to say 1x plus 6. Okay? The left side still says 3 times y. And we want just the y. So the opposite of multiplying by 3 is dividing by 3. If I divide this piece by 3, this one has to be divided by 3, and this one's divided by 3. So now I'm left with y equals 1/3 x, and then 6 divided by 3 is going to be plus 2. So that piece right there, this is what I'm going to be using to graph, and I'm going to start on this line right here. Okay, so I'm going to start with my b, and if you remember right, your b is the second piece right there, and I was going to do that in a different color. Let's try that in green. So this is my b, and this is my m. Okay, so my b says I'm going to start at positive 2. Just put a dot on positive 2. Okay, and then my m says I'm going to go up 1 and then to the right 3. They're both positive, so I'm going up and to the right. So up 1, to the right 3. And then do your dot. So go up 1, to the right 3. Okay, if I can't go up 1 and to the right 3, the opposite of that is going down 1 and to the left 3. So I can keep going with that until I don't have any other graph left. I'm just going to go ahead and put that line right in there. Okay, number 3 says x equals 5. What that means is that no matter what y is, my x is going to be 5. So I'm going to go ahead and put a dot on x equals 5. Okay, and that dot right there is really 5, 0. I didn't go anywhere. Okay, so I started on 5, but then I stayed on that 0 line. I didn't go up or I didn't go down. Okay, my next one, because x is 5, I'm going to say 5, 1. So let's put a dot on 5, 1. Okay, the next one I'm going to say 5, 2. So no matter what my x is, my or sorry, no matter what my y is, my x will always be 5. So 5, 2, I'll put a dot right here. Okay, let's say 5, 3. Okay, so here's 5, 3. I can say 5, negative 5, and 5, so I'm going to go over to 5, and then down to negative 5, and that's going to be right here. What you're going to notice is that you're going to have a straight vertical line, or a line up and down. So this graphs x equals 5. The next piece we're going to do is graphing inequalities with two variables, okay? So the first thing you're going to want to do is get it in y equals mx plus b, okay? So that's the form you're going to need it to graph it in. Then you're going to determine what kind of line you're going to have, okay? If it is just a less than or greater than symbol, it will be a dotted line. If it is a less than equal to or greater than equal to, it's going to be a solid line. Okay? And then you're going to determine how you're going to shade it. Okay? If it is greater than or equal to, or just greater than, you're going to shade up. If it's less than or equal to, or just less than, you're going to shade down. Okay? And the last step is to just graph. And we worked on these a little bit before, right? We worked on those, it was still Unit 1. It was last week sometime, so you guys should be familiar with this. Okay, so let's look at this first one. So we're going to treat this less than or equal to symbol as just kind of like equals for right now, okay? So we're at y is less than or equal to 2x plus 3, okay? That's very similar to this y equals mx plus b that we need. So where it says y equals mx plus b, this piece right here, if you're at y equals, or not really equals, but less than or equal to, we're good. So we can go ahead and treat this just like we did y equals mx plus b. This is going to be my, whoops, that is a little too thick. This one's going to be my m, and this is my b. Remember, we start on that b on that y-axis, so here's my y-axis. So my b is going to start at 3. So I'm going to go ahead and say a positive 3. So here's my positive 3, okay? And then my m is 2x. Remember, if there's no number under it, it's going to be over 1. So that means I'm going to go up 2 to the right 1. So up 2 to the right 1. From there, I can't go up 2 more and to the right, but I can go down 2 and to the left 1. And I'm just going to keep doing that until I have the whole graph done, okay? So when we go back to the notes, remember if you're having the greater than, equal to, or less than equal to, it's going to be a solid line. So what that means is I'm going to make this a solid line, okay? Now I'm going to go and I'm going to read this symbol right here. So I'm looking and I'm going to read that symbol right there. And because it is not eating, remember when we talked about the alligator mouth eating? Because the alligator is not eating that y, it's going to say y is less than. Okay, when it says less than, what I want you to do is I want you to take, oops, we're getting a little thick again, take and draw arrows going down. Less than means down. And then you're going to shade everything on that side where you have the arrows. So I'm just going to go ahead and shade or color in with your pencil that side. Okay, so we're good there. That one looks good. Okay, so let's look at number 5. We have y is greater than x minus 6. Okay, remember we're going to do it the same way we did before. We're going to kind of treat it like an equal sign to start off with. And first we're looking for, is it in the form y equals mx plus b? So let's look. Y, and if we treat that as equals, y equals, I have an x and I have a b. Remember, if there's no number in front of your x, there's actually really a 1 right there. So I'm going to put a 1 right here. So y is greater than 1x minus 6. Okay, so my m is going to be this first one, and my b is here. So my b is negative 6, and that's where I'm going to start on this line right here at negative 6. So I'm going to go ahead and put a dot on negative 6. Okay, And if there's no number under that 1, it's a 1. So I'm going up 1 to the right 1. So up 1 to the right 1. And I'm just going to keep going until I don't have any other graph left for all those, okay? And this one says it's just greater than. It's not equal to. It doesn't have that solid line underneath. When it doesn't have that solid line underneath, then this piece right here has to be a dotted line. And I do that by just skipping every other one. Okay, so now that one's dotted, and it says Y. When I look at that Y, I see that the alligator mouth is pointing to the Y. Okay, so that's going to mean it's greater. So then I'm going to take my pencil and touch those dots, and I'm going to pull up, and I'm at greater. So everything on that side of that dotted line has to be colored in. Okay, so that means greater right there. So let's keep going with this side here. So now we have Y is greater than or equal to negative 4x plus 2. So remember, we want it in the form Y equals mx plus b. Okay, so when I'm looking, I'm going to treat this kind of like an equals to start off with. Okay, and I'm at Y is greater than or equal to negative 4x plus 2. Well, I see that the Y is all by itself, so negative 4x plus 2. So with those, I can just look and I can just graph it as is. So we're going to take this and I'm going to first find my M. So this one is going to be my M and this is my B. Okay, so my B is going to be a positive 2. So I'm going to find positive 2 and draw a dot. And then I'm going to look at my M and see where I'm going. Well, that one says negative 4 and there's no number, so I'm going to go to the right 1. I'm going to put a 1 under there. So negative 4 means I'm going down 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and to the right 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, to the right 1. Okay. I still see there's more graphs, so I'm going to also go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then to the left 1. Okay. Remember, if it has this solid piece underneath, see how it's like greater than or equal to? If it's solid, this is going to be solid. Okay, so if you have that solid line under there, it's going to be solid over here. And when I see it says Y is greater than or equal to, so here is my alligator teeth. So I know Y is greater because it's eating that Y. So I'm going to find a point and I'm just going to draw an arrow up because greater means I'm going to go higher. So I'm going to shade everything on the side of that arrow. So all of this will be shaded. Okay, so let's look at number 7. Okay, we're going to treat it the same way. So we're going to use this kind of like an equal sign. Okay, we're going to first look, am I in Y equals mx plus b? So I have Y, and then I have that symbol is greater than 1/2 x minus 2. Yep, the Y is all by itself. So I can go ahead and graph this. And before I graph that, I have to figure out my M. So this is my M, and this is my B. Okay, and because it's minus 2, that B is going to be a negative 2. So I'm going to go ahead and start by putting a dot on negative 2. And then my M says I'm going to go up 1 because that top number is positive. So I'm going up 1 and then to the right 2. So up 1 to the right 2. Up 1 to the right 2. And keep going. And then there's still more graph on the left side. So now I'm going to go down 1 and to the left 2. Down 1 to the left 2. Okay, and this one says Y is greater. Okay, we can see that greater because the alligator's eating that Y. Okay, remember when it doesn't have that solid line underneath, remember if it has this, it's going to be solid. This one is just that. Okay, so now we need to go every other. We're just going to dot those every other. And then put those lines in there. Okay. And remember, it says Y is greater. The alligator's eating that Y. So I'm going to go higher because greater is higher. And then everything on that side of the line will be shaded. Okay, so let's look at number 8. Okay, so number 8 is going to require a little bit more work because we need it Y equals mx plus b, right? When I look, my Y is not by itself. I have 3x minus 2y is greater than negative 6. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to leave this negative 2y I want to leave that there. Okay, that's the last thing I'm going to deal with. So the first step is to get rid of that 3x. It's a positive 3x because it's not a negative in front. So to get rid of that, I want to minus or subtract that 3x. So I'm going to say minus 3x over here and minus 3x over here. Okay, when I do that, that gets rid of these 3x's. They're not there anymore. So now I'm left with negative 2y, and then I'm going to leave this symbol the same. And then remember when it's y equals mx plus b, you have to have whatever is your x come first. Okay, so because that negative 3 is my x, that's going to come first. So I'm going to go ahead and write that negative 3x, and then I'm just going to plop on that negative 6. Okay, when I look back at my y is still not by itself. It still has that negative 2 in front of it. That's saying negative 2 times y. Well, to get rid of negative 2 times y, we're going to divide by negative 2 here. The opposite of multiplying is dividing. And if I divide negative 2 there, I'm going to divide negative 2 here and also negative 2 here. Okay, that gets rid of these 2's. So now I'm left with y right there. If you remember right in one of the other lessons, if we divide or multiply by a negative, this middle symbol has to flip. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this middle symbol and make it the other direction. So I'm going to, so my y is all by itself, so I'm going to leave that there. And then instead of being greater, it is now less than. And a negative and negative turns into a positive, so I'm just going to write 3 over 2x. And then negative 6 divided by negative 2. Again, a negative and a negative turns into a positive, so that's going to be plus, and then 6 divided by 2 is 3. And I'm going to rewrite that over here. Y is less than 3 over 2x plus 3. So we can see that one a little bit better. This is my m, and this is my b. So I'm going to go ahead and start at that plus 3, that positive 3 on my graph. So here's my graph. I'm going to start at positive 3. Okay, and my m says I'm going to go up 3 to the right 2. So from here, 1, 2, 3 to the right 2. If I can't go up and to the right, I'm going to go down and to the left. Oh, and I just miscalculated that one here, so let me erase that one. Okay, so remember we're going down 3 and to the left 2. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. There we go. Okay, and this one, it says y is less than. Remember, the alligator is not pointing to the y, and it doesn't have that solid line in between it. Or sorry, under it. It doesn't have the solid line under. So now I'm just going to dot this. So I'm not connecting. I'm just kind of making dots to show that that is a dotted line. Throw your arrows on the top and bottom of that line. And it says y is less than. So I'm going to hold my pencil on the dots. And I'm just going to pull down. And now I know everything on this side of that dotted line will be shaded. So this part's going to be shaded because y is less than. Okay, so let's look at number 9. I'm going to rewrite number 9. I'm going to say 5x plus y is less than or equal to 10. That'll give us a little bit more room to write. So if you want to go ahead and rewrite yours so you have more space to do your work, you can. Okay, just like before, we want it in the form y equals mx plus b. So you want to get y all by itself. Well, right now, I have that 5x there, and the only thing I want on this side is this y. Okay, so we got to get rid of that 5x. Right now, it's a positive 5x. So to get rid of a positive 5x, I'm going to say minus 5x, minus 5x. Okay, when I look at those, these are gone, and I'm just left with a y right here, and then a greater than equal to symbol in the middle. And then remember, you want to get your x first, because mx plus b, your x has to come first. So when I'm looking at this 5x is going to come first. So let's write that negative 5x, and then that's a positive 10. It doesn't say negative 10, so I'm going to say plus 10. Okay, so when I look at that, y is less than or equal to negative 5x plus 10. So this is my m, and this is my b. And we're not even going to graph that one. We're going to ignore graphing that one because your graph won't go up that high. And I'm just going to leave it at that. We're not going to graph that one, so I'm just going to cross off that graph. We don't have to graph that. Okay, so let's look at number 10. Okay, again, we wanted in that y equals mx plus b. So I see I have my y at the beginning, so that's good that I have a y over here, but I also have a 3x. I need that y to stay, so I'm going to get rid of that 3x. So it says plus 3x. The opposite of that is minus 3x. And if I do that over there, I have to do it on this side too. So I'm left with a y on my left. The 3x's are gone. I'm still at greater than or equal to. My x has to come first, so negative 3x minus 6. Okay, when I look at that, it does look like y equals, except it's greater than or equal to, and then I have a negative 3x minus 6. So when I look, this is my m, this is my b. There's no number under my m, so I'm going to make that a 1. Okay, so I'm going to start at negative 6, because I already started at that b. So negative 6, and then I'm going to go down 3 to the right 1. Well, when I look at where my dot is, I can't go down, or I'm going to be like off the graph. So right now it's negative 3 over 1. Well, the opposite of that would be a positive 3 and a negative 1. Those are the same thing. So I'm going to use this one right here, the one that I just showed you. So I'm going to go up 3 and then to the left 1 to make my graph. So I'm going to start at going up 3, 1, 2, 3, and then to the left 1. 1, 2, 3, to the left 1. 1, 2, 3, left 1. 1, 2, 3, left 1. Okay. It has y is greater than or equal to, right? It has this solid line. So I need this to be a solid line with arrows on each end. And then it says y is greater. See how the alligator mouth is eating that one? Okay, so I'm going to go up higher. So I'm just doing here and here. And then everything on that side of the arrow will be shaded. And we have one left. Okay, I'm going to rewrite that one again too, just so we have a little bit more room. So I have negative 2y is less than 4x minus 10. Okay, and if I want y equals mx plus b, I'm really close, but I still have that negative 2y. That's saying negative 2 times y. The opposite of multiplying by y is, multiplying by negative 2 is to divide by a negative 2. So I'm going to divide this by a negative 2. If I do that by a negative 2, I have to do this piece by a negative 2, and also this piece by a negative 2. Okay, when I do that, those are gone. So now I'm just left with y, and then I'm going to, because we divided by a negative 2, I have to flip this symbol. So now it's not going to be less than. We're going to flip it the other way, and now it's going to be greater than. So y is greater than. A 4 divided by a negative 2 is going to give me a negative 2x. And then you'll notice the next piece, it's a negative 10 divided by a negative 2. A negative and a negative turn into a positive, so I'm going to say plus. And 10 divided by 2 is 5. Okay, so it says y, and my alligator mouth is eating that y. Y is greater. So I'm going to start like I always do on my y-axis. Okay, and we're going to start at plus 5. Oops, you can't really see that one. So I'm going to start at plus 5. Okay, and it's negative 2x. There's no other number, so I'm going to put over 1. And negative 2 means I'm going to go down. So down 2 to the right 1. Down 2 to the right 1. Down 2 to the right 1. Okay, and once you have that whole graph, so I just have greater than. It's not equal to, so because it's not equal to, I'm just going to dot in between and not connect them all. You want to make it look like it's not a solid line. Okay, and y is greater, so I'm going to find my dot, and I'm going to pull up. That means I'm going greater. And then I'm just going to color on that side. Okay, that will conclude your notes for Unit 1, LT, I believe it's LT 12 notes. 11 or 12, whatever I told you in the beginning. But that concludes. If you have questions, don't hesitate to ask, okay?